folks. They can speak to your head, and you think you don't know where it's coming from. You might think it's demonic. You might think it's alien. But one of the last things you're going to think of at the time is that it's directly coming from your own military. You know, it's a government black project, and that's exactly where most of it is coming from. And they're controlling you. And you know, Columbine, those kids were nothing but Manchurians. They were controlled to kill. And they usually do this to set up some kind of a group or set up some kind of legislation that they want passed to come about. I mean, if you look at Columbine, the disaster, those kids had a history of being involved with the military underground base before they had moved to Colorado. They had histories of being involved with the government. Look at the one kid's dad was an FBI agent. And so they were mind-controlled pawns. They were pawns of the government. And so this stuff happens, and then after Columbine, what did Congress do? They were pushing for gun control legislation, and we know they want our guns. They're coming after our guns. They want our guns, or they want to make a militia group look bad. I mean, who took the fall for the Oklahoma City bombing? Tim McVeigh, who had always declared from day one that he was chip implanted, that he had been given a chip implant. And the company he was a security guard for was one of these Manchurian-type companies that had been experimenting with people on chip implants and turning them into psychological killers and assassins. And we know that little fertilizer bomb didn't bring down the building. It had explosives in it. And the whole thing was geared. And what they did was the first thing they did was blame the militia movement, you know, because Tim McVeigh and all his group, they tied them into the Elohim City, which, by the way, which is out at the tip of Oklahoma, it's Elohim City, which is supposed to be a patriot community. And they tried to make the whole community look bad, but you know what? Our government owns that one anyway. I mean, I don't think it's a long-hid secret that the ATF has their own agent provocateurs leading that base. And anytime there's some kind of a militia group anywhere, the ATF is involved. They put their leaders in it. And then several other agencies will sneak agents in, and then these agents don't even know who each other are. But that's standard quo. That's how they work. That's how they operate. Whenever there's a group, the government puts their own agents in it. And a lot of them even lead these militia groups. They get them started. They fund them. They get their own land for them. And they keep them going. And you might think, well, why would the government do that? Well, you know, leading and controlling your own opposition has always been a strategy of any government, especially the communists. They did it all the time. And that way what they could do is keep names and database information on all the people that joined or that were interested, because then they knew who all their sympathizers were, who all their supporters were, and they knew who was actually was against the government at that point. And there's nothing wrong with militia governments. I mean, our Constitution protects the right to form a militia. But you wouldn't know that. You would think it was some kind of heinous crime to start a militia in this country. And we have every right to have militias in every state, at least 100 of them. I mean, it's a constitutional right to have militias. If they want to say, well, our Constitution is dead, that the Patriot Acts have taken over, well, BS. You know, we're going to hang under our Constitution. You know, they can shove their Patriot Acts. You know, they're not American. They're anti-constitutional. They take away our freedoms and our liberties. And they can go and abide by it as much as they want, but I'll tell you what, 90% of Americans in the country today are going to stick by the Constitution. And so, yeah, there's going to be a fight here. There's going to be a war if they start taking away our guns, because that's a Second Amendment constitutional right of ours to own and bear arms. And with these alien invasions and everything else coming, I'll tell you what, you don't want to give up your arms. You know, you just start locking and loading and stockpiling bullets. And some of the easiest things, tips and advice on bullets is stock up on 22s or 9mm. Mostly 22s because you can trade 22s. It's a standard bullet. And if you have to, you can trade 22 bullets for food or whatever you need. You can barter them. And so what you want to do is you can stack up and use bullets to barter with. Also, toilet paper is a good barter item. Shampoo, soap, you know. And you know, think about things that you can trade with and barter with, because, you know, there's going to come a time when bartering is a lot more valuable than money, because even though you have all the money in the world, there's nothing to buy. And so people that do have things like toilet paper and shampoo and soap and things, you know, it's going to be more valuable than money. So stock up on amenities, folks. We do have a famine coming to this country. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but I see famine all the time. Maybe not particularly this country first. It will probably hit the other countries first. It seems like everything hits outside of the United States first before it does here. But we have some rough times coming ahead. I got an email last week from somebody stating that my broadcasts and my websites were forcing the hand of the Brazilian government to come out with disclosure much sooner than they had wanted to. And, I don't know about that. I don't know about anything that I say, why the Brazilian government would care less, or how effective anything I say would be. That was an email I got. And so what I wanted to do today, and I replied in this email, that's inevitable to begin with, because the Brazilians have the largest alien base on Earth in their mountains. So how long can they go without having to disclose some of it? And I'm not a fan of disclosure. I told you last week on the show, I'm not a big fan of UFO and alien disclosure. We already know they're there. Let's just keep it that way. Let's keep them in the closet. We don't need them coming out of the closet. Once you have this big disclosure and acknowledge they're here and acknowledge accept the fact that they're here, they're going to come out of the closet and they're going to be in our hair and our faces every day. So let's keep them in the closet. Let's don't not acknowledge them. I'm all for not acknowledging these things. But I'll spend every week warning everybody about what's coming, because the time is coming when whether we want disclosure or not, it's going to come. It's going to happen one way or the other. These aliens are going to take center stage. They're going to invade this country and this world, whether we want them to or not, because their timetable is coming up. And they have windows of time opportunities, because we know that they're going to be here. They're going to rule the world for 3 months. For 42 months, for 3 years. 3.5 years they're allowed to rule with Satan. And so who's Satan? Lucifer? He's a draconian. He is the one who rules from Orion, the Orion star system. And his faction, the dragons, are also has the Mossmen with him, has the reptilians, has the tall grays and the small grays. And he also has the Anunnaki, the Anakim. And those are the humanoids, the tall ones. And that's the ones that we're going to be seeing. They're giants, 7 to 9 feet tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed. And I'm going to get in later some of these known alien-type races. And I talk about the same ones over and over again so that you can become familiar with them. But that's Satan's faction. He's going to be allowed to rule the world for 3.5 years. So all of these alien factions that are loyal to Lucifer are going to come to Earth to help him rule and control the Earth. He doesn't need man's armies. The church always gets tunnel vision when they start looking at prophecies, and they think that, the EU is going to be the last days army for the Antichrist. And he doesn't need man's armies. He's going to have millions of his own. And where humans die, humans are expendable. He's been spending all this time over the past centuries where he's got his own robotoid army. They're automatons. He's also got cloned soldiers, the super soldiers, half human, half machine. They've got all kinds of stuff coming at us, folks. We haven't seen anything yet. And these things won't think twice about killing 20 million people in an oven. They're not going to think twice about killing women and children or men. They don't think twice about murder, to where human armies would. Want some to say, the Nazi Holocaust got by with killing 6-7 million Jews. And that's true, but you know what? A lot of those people didn't know. Those Jews didn't know they were going to die. What they did was told they were going to take showers. And so I really like to see them pull that off in this country. We know that they're warning of martial law. We know that they're closing down military bases, retrofitting them to serve as civilian internment camps. We know there's over 100, maybe even close to 200 now, of these internment camps, and what they are holding tanks. To where they can shuffle a lot of people into them and then put them on trains to their final destinations, which will be like the Auschwitz of America, will be like Alaska, where they can kill and annihilate 500,000 to 1 million a day in their ovens. We know that they have them in Indiana at the old Amtrak station land. They have